Driving It Home with ABoR's housing economist, Dr. Clare Knapp.
All right, everyone, welcome back to another episode of Driving It Home. This is our second episode of our live roundtable with 5 of us from UnlockMLS and ABoR. If you haven't already watched or listened to our first episode, which dropped last Tuesday, you'll want to go ahead and do so before you listen to this episode. It's a bit of a precursor for us. I'm Kelea Youngblood, your Chief Marketing Officer, joined by our resident rock star, as I mentioned last week, CEO Emily Chenevert, our Deputy Director of Communications, Danielle Hammett, welcome, our Deputy Director of Government Affairs, Taylor Smith, the one and only, and our housing economist, Dr. Clare Knapp. Welcome. As I mentioned last week, we've all either hosted or been interviewed on one of these podcasts, so we wanted to make sure that our audience and our listeners and our subscribers kind of know who the cast of characters are. Live and in person, we're actually real people. So on the topic of fun, let's just throw you all for a bit of a curveball and give our listeners a look behind the curtain. What's the funniest memory from your time at ABoR, whether it was at one of our events? I mean, there's some that we can't really talk about, but let's be honest, whether it's some of our events or behind the scenes here in the office.
Okay, I
Who
have
wants to go first?
a really embarrassing one, so I'll embarrass myself.
Thank you for being tribute.
Actually, this is a really good one. This is a good one. I know what she's going to say.
So it was just a few months ago. It was in one of my Unlock Stats labs, and this gentleman, I was reviewing the Unlock Stats platform. Can't remember exactly what I was talking about, but this gentleman raised his hand and he asked me, "Are you a Six Sigma black belt?" Oh. And people sometimes ask me some random questions, and I heard the phrase black belt and immediately thought, okay, karate, jiu-jitsu, taekwondo, I got this. And I thought,
do you in fact have a black belt?
and I thought Six Sigma was some version of the black belt or some company in Austin where everyone went to take karate. And so I go on this minute-long tangent about how, no, I've never taken karate or jiu-jitsu or taekwondo, and I'm trying to be inclusive, so I'm trying to remember all of the different forms of martial arts, and say, oh, I've never taken any of those, but it must be a really wonderful opportunity. And I'm just going on, and faces in the room are just dropping. Everyone's like, what are you talking about? So finally, I just kind of move along, right? But after the lab, I look it up. And apparently it's some kind of training course.
Like a very robust productivity training. Yes.
So I wanted to crawl under the table and die, but
That's a good one.
Well, that really exhibits the grace of our membership, right? That they didn't just call you out for going straight
They were lovely.
to karate.
It was crazy.
Stick to stats, Claire. Anybody else?
Yeah, I've got one. This goes back all the way back to 2019 when we were doing our viral Be a Member campaign, and we were doing a book giveaway. We were expecting this giant crate of books to be delivered, and it came, and we looked at it. It turns out it wasn't books. It was a giant crate of kitty litter. And so we had to, kudos to our marketing team and our facilities team who did some detective work to figure out, turned out to be a little old lady who lived nearby who was very invested in having litter for her cats. And she had our books in her garage, and so we were able to get that successfully swapped out. But that was a campaign that we had put together in like 3 weeks' time, I want to say. And so I just remember that being a very funny and memorable day of like when we had to play kitty litter detectives.
Anybody else?
I mean, I think it's funny that, well, I guess on a human level, we all have special skills, right? And so one year, many years ago, it was Kathy Conway's installation, if she's listening. She did a Dancing with the Stars theme. And our tree pack chair that year was one of the stars dancing. And I hand bedazzled the back of his shirt in the logo of the tree pack eagle bird thing. It was 3,000 crystals individually glued on the back of the shirt. I don't know where that's gone, but I'd like that sucker back.
Yeah, we need to frame it. And hang it up in the office.
Yeah. So, I mean, we're always working hard, but are we working smart is another question sometimes.
I have to tell the story about the convertible that got slashed.
Oh, wow.
We're gonna go there, team. There was one year that apparently a member or somebody was in our
It was
building.
a speaker for another entity's program that was being hosted
That's
here.
right.
Yeah.
That's right. And he was having some extramarital activities, and he proceeded to go out to his car, and the woman had slashed the tires, slashed all of the leather and the inside of the seats. And so he was like, "What happened to my car?" Well, we pulled up the video camera, and he goes, "I won't be pressing charges." Yeah, that was an interesting. All right, let's move on. So in our last,
There's a pro tip in there about convertibles, though.
yeah, maybe close it up. Yeah. All right, team. So in our last episode, we touched on opportunities in our industry. Let's now hone in on an organizational specific focus. At UnlockMLS and ABoR, we've deemed 2025 our year of opportunity because we believe so strongly that our members can really continue to unlock the potential of our housing market in 2025. So Dr. Knapp, Clare, I'm going to put you in the hot seat as I usually do for a minute, just because you've predicted that home sales and prices will remain essentially the same year over year as in 2024, and you begged the audience at our kickoff to not throw tomatoes at you. You've said that home sales and prices will likely increase or decrease to the tune of 5% year over year in 2025. Given the current and predicted state of the market, what are some of the key takeaways our members should consider in working with clients to help facilitate the opportunity of homeownership?
Sure. So I think it's imperative to remember that we have so much more supply on the market. So especially as our members are working with buyers, just reminding them of all of the wonderful inventory we have on the market now and how different that is just from a few years ago. We're really sitting around about 5 months of inventory right now. And so we can all remember back to COVID when it was less than 1 month of inventory and, homes were literally being bought sight unseen. So there's just a tremendous amount of potential for buyers to be able to tap into that increase in inventory and really find what they truly desire, really find what they're looking for. Homeownership is such a big investment, as we all well know, and we, of course, want everyone in Austin to be able to find the home that they want. And then I think for sellers, the opportunity is really to tap into the tremendous home equity gains that they have accrued over the past 5, 10, 15, however long years they've owned their home. Say a seller who bought their home in 2019 is looking to put their home on the market this year, they've accrued at least 40% home equity gains, depending on their price point and whatnot. But overall, we've just seen a lot of growth in prices over the long term, right, in the Austin housing market. Of course, we tend to focus on prices on a year-over-year basis or even just a few years back. But when you think about just the arc of time, really being able to tap into that potential as a seller and then purchase your next home here in Austin and avail yourself of all the opportunities as a buyer.
And you released a buy versus rent index. Let's talk about that. Just plug, because this is a perfect spot to plug that. Tell our subscribers and our listeners where they can find that and what it's really all about, because we're going to do another one this year.
That's right. We're going to publish the updated version. Yeah. And we're actually, as a teaser for watching this episode, as all of our listeners know, we have data share now with HAR and ABoR. And so we're going to be able to duplicate that report for HAR and ABoR using their data as well. So we'll have an Austin, San Antonio, and Houston perspective on buying versus renting. So you can find the original report at unlock.com/research.
UnlockMLS.com.
Oh, excuse me, UnlockMLS.com/research. And that's where you can find all of our reports. And essentially, it's just a historical perspective of the trade-off between buying a home versus renting a home and how that has played out over the span of time. So say, for example, you have a seller who purchased a home in 2011 and they're selling, and they sold it in 2023 or whatnot. You can kind of track how over time, it played out, whether they should have bought or rented the home. And the vast majority of the time, especially as you're looking at first-time buyers, it really pays to have bought your home.
Yeah.
And earlier the better.
Right.
It's kind of we say.
And that's a great segue into housing affordability, right? So I'm going to flip it over here to Taylor. Housing affordability and accessibility are integral to the work and mission here at UnlockMLS and ABoR, and we talked about that in our previous episode. Taylor, can you talk to us a little bit about the work you and the advocacy team will continue to do to facilitate greater housing affordability and accessibility within Central Texas?
We'll continue to obviously work with our elected officials to prioritize housing and to really work at addressing housing affordability. As I kind of mentioned last week, this year I really think it's going to be implementation on a lot of the policies that at least the Austin City Council approved last year. So really making sure that Home Phase 1 and Home Phase 2 can be fully implemented this year. Home Phase 1 allows 3 units by right. And then Home Phase 2 dramatically reduced the minimum lot size. But right now, to take advantage of that lot size, you have to go through our subdivision process, which could take you up to 2 years and a lot of money. And so really working with the city to streamline that process so that an individual can do it on their own without hiring somebody is really kind of where our focus is. And so really looking at all the other processes the city has. But then also looking at development fees. As we found in one of our reports that we released several years ago, the city of Austin has some of the highest development fees in the state. And so really working with the city to not identify ways to streamline that process so we can bring down those development fees, but then also look at, are these the correct fees for this moment right now? So really looking across the broad spectrum. And then also really just getting out in the community and helping neighbors and our community members learn how they can also help address affordability by protesting their property appraisals. And so equipping them to have the resources to do that and on an annual basis. And so really, it's going to be an exciting year for advocacy. And so we hope our members stay tuned and get plugged in.
That was a fabulous report. And it really turned the mirror on our city to really take action and understand, hey, we're really expensive to build in Austin, and that's not fun. Yeah. So, Emily, do you want to tack on to that? Is there anything else you would like to add here about our organization's commitment to advocating for housing and affordability and accessibility, and how you see us continue to tackle these issues in the future?
I mean, I guess I could just say for people who don't know, I did Taylor's job many years ago. He does it better than I did.
Oh, I don't know about that.
But for 10 years, we worked on these types of policy initiatives. And so to see them now coming forward, seeing the work that you and the ambassadors, member peers, realtors who work with elected officials every day to help make these things happen come to full fruition is exciting. They're taking bites at the apple in a way that's more meaningful than what we've seen before, and certainly the work will continue. That work is powered by TREPAC, by the Texas Real Estate Political Action Committee, which helps to enable proper relationships early and upfront in the tenure of an elected official. So I am a TREPAC major investor. I hope others will join me in that because I believe in the power of establishing relationship and trust with elected officials at the front end of their tenure. I know what that does for us when it comes to the back end decision making that they do on the policies that matter. And so we have definitely seen that firsthand given this trajectory of many, many years of inaction that led to a lopsided housing market that now we're finally seeing some real policy solutions for.
So we touched earlier on how ABoR was able to navigate the recent shift in the housing market. Despite industry-wide changes in the current market, we're still about 17,000 members strong and, plus or minus have some room to grow. In the meantime, we are focused on providing quality education to our members. Be still my heart. Danielle, what are some ways outside of our general communications that members can access to educate themselves on best practices in the business and ways to be better real estate professionals etc.
Definitely. Okay, I'm back with my 3 things. But the first thing is that you've got to know the market. And the 2 things I have for you on that one is Unlock Stats, which we talked about last week a little bit. But that is a really slick and fully customizable free resource you have through the MLS to be able to get professional and customizable reports to share with your clients and stay up to date on the market in a real-time basis in an easy to understand way. And the second thing is an ABoR benefit. We cover the cost for a digital subscription to the Austin Business Journal, which honestly, since they report on different filings and things like that, it's a huge lead generator. It's not just staying on top of the market, it's understanding where your next business moves need to be. So those 2 things are key to helping you understand the market on a daily basis. The second thing is knowing your industry. As part of those subscriptions, we've also covered Inman Select, which is, and also recently Real Estate News. Those are 2 of the leading real estate industry publications. They give kind of different perspectives on industry coverage. And I'm really proud that, we cover all of those as well for free through your ABoR membership, because trying to subscribe to quality industry coverage is expensive. And so I'm really proud that we cover that. And then the last thing is that you need to know your business. Kalea's talked about our education, but really, truly, we cover through ABoR, we cover the 18 hours, the cost of your CE license renewal. And we do that because we don't want you to be an 18-hour agent, we like to say. That is so you can take a designation, so that you can invest in enhancing a skill and improving your negotiation, as it's a much more balanced perspective in the market, in the transaction. So know the market, know the industry, know your business.
Love it. So concise. Just like a communicator.
True marketer.
True marketer. So for all of you that have stuck with us through a lot of information, we're going to throw you a bone. If our CEO is willing to play along, that is, always. We just throw her in the pot.
Because I was
like,
told
okay.
to play along.
Emily, what's on the horizon for UnlockMLS and ABoR as an organization?
So some pretty tangible things. First and foremost, unless you've been living under a rock, I hope you know that February 25th, a new matrix will launch. That means a new listing entry ad edit module we call Listing Manager, a new consumer client portal called One Home, and a new pretty high-powered CMA embedded in Matrix, the application that you know and hopefully love. It's really critical that you understand that those are not small changes, that there are significant changes to the modules that you most use and interact with aside from the actual search function of Matrix. There are a few videos that you should watch, that you must watch, so that you can be prepared for February 25th, and lots of training, including weekly power hours brought to you by UnlockMLS. So please plug into that, be ready, help us navigate that change together. I know you can change because you did it last fall with your business practice changes. So I know you're going to do it again, and we're going to help you do it. We're also making some significant changes to the subscription requirements for UnlockMLS subscribers. We'll no longer require association membership as a condition to subscribing to the MLS. We see critical value in providing flexibility and choice for our agents and their broker principals. We also see the importance of members who choose to participate in the association making that choice deliberately, wanting to be engaged, wanting to choose the value of advocacy, wanting to choose the value of the Code of Ethics and Professional Standards process. And so we're looking forward to that change. We'll have more information for brokers, especially about how to set up the different office types that they might want to consider April 1st. That change won't go into effect until June 1st. And then the last thing I'll say, especially because this is the podcast where we do this, we're really doubling down on what it means to digest market information, especially as it relates to the 3 markets that we're now data sharing with. So, the market that San Antonio and Houston. We want to encourage you to work within your geographic competency, but think about how that information helps you leverage a conversation here in your backyard. We're doing that through Unlock Stats. Claire talked about some of the research that she's going to scale to include those other markets so that you've got this comparative context for what's happening in this market versus what's happening in theirs.
Awesome. One more thing, just going back to the new matrix, what we don't want, team, is for March to come around and you have that shiny new listing because it's spring selling
midnight
season.
on Tuesday and you're
and
entering
you're
it
not
and you don't know
prepared.
how.
Correct. So just an extra plug.
Yeah.
Please,
This is for you.
pay
This is for
attention.
you.
Yeah. While we're talking about all of our members, have to look forward to, let's take a step back and just remind our listeners of the host of member benefits available to them. I know we keep plugging this, but it's, a captive audience for us to shine. Danielle, I know there have been too many benefits to cover comprehensively, but can you please provide an overview of the benefits our members should tap into, like today, from a communication standpoint?
Oh, wow. Yeah, that is a lot. We don't have 30 minutes. No, but the easiest thing, and I said it in the last episode, is UnlockMLS.com. The homepage, there's literally 2 tiles right underneath the main welcome is for your Unlock MLS benefits and your ABoR benefits. And take a time. I always say take 2 to 3 hours on a Monday morning, and when you're getting your stuff together for the week, and go through those real estate news, ABJ, Inman, all those subscriptions, all the MLS tools like Unlock Stats and Forewarn and Kubicasa that help make you work smarter, not harder, and really just make sure that you are taking a look at those things and you are signed up for all of those. I also encourage you, while you're on UnlockMLS.com, to go to our classes page, our classes and events, and take a look at some of the education opportunities we have coming up. We also are partnered with, we haven't said this yet, but with Aceable Agent, that offers on-demand courses, including that 18 hours of CE that we cover in Code of Ethics. But just keep a look, make sure you're keeping tabs on that and really using that to your advantage.
Great. So I'm going to put everybody on the spot, and I'm going to ask probably the hardest question yet, and that is, if you had to pick one, no, you can't cheat. If you had to pick one, Unlock MLS or ABoR resource, just one, what would you encourage our members to check out first? And I get to go first.
Really?
Okay.
Yeah, no, I'm going first. My favorite, I think, and there's so many, but I'm going to go with Forewarn because as a former agent and practitioner, I had a really scary situation happen in an open house and would have definitely benefited from using that app and using that just a little gut check on who that person I'm meeting is. And so it's free to our listeners and free to our members. So that's my favorite. That's what I'm going with.
I'll go next.
Okay.
I would say our Live from City Hall.
Okay.
It's a bi-weekly newsletter with very digestible information on things that the Austin City Council is looking into, things that are happening across Central Texas. And it's also a great way to find any new customizables that we release. There'll be a link in there that these are resources that you can put your name, your logo on, and send out to your clients as if you created it yourself. Mm-hmm. There are things ranging from wildfire mitigation to also just information about your local council district that your client might live in. And so that's a great way. You can sign up for that at unlock.com/Live from City Hall sign up. And see what I did there? I typed 2 in.
UnlockMLS.com/customizables.
Customizables for the customizables, and then UnlockMLS.com/Live from City Hall sign up.
Okay. We're going to
gonna need
plug
a
that.
QR code.
We're going to have
QR
our fancy videographers put that up on the screen. I can imagine. I can see it now.
Yeah.
All right, Em, you're up.
Okay, I'm going to go fast. I am a podcast lover, so this is my favorite
that's a good one.
benefit. I think it's cool to be able to listen. I'm a very auditory person as well. To listen, to hear, to digest quickly what's happening in our marketplace and figure out how to use that in my business, I think is super helpful.
Good one.
I want to say the upcoming matrix changes and that we're having, again, there's 3 trainings you need to take before February 25th at unlockmls.com/opportunity. I've had this is something I can tell you in the background that the board and staff have been working on for, 3 years, I
Feels
think.
like
we've been-
years.
It literally is.
Yeah.
But it's really just to, even though I'm not a practitioner myself, to be able to see just how much easier it is to navigate and how much it's proven that it's like One Home is the highest rated client portal on the market that exists today, with a really high net promoter score. And so I'm really excited that we are continuing to lead the way. I love, anytime as a marketer I get to say first in the nation. I really enjoy doing that, but it's true. I'm really proud that our board and our organization, Unlock MLS, that we're always at that leading edge to be able to give you the best technology available. And it's been a whole lot of work. Our campaign has tons of resources. Again, UnlockMLS.opportunity, see, we're all messing them up today. UnlockMLS.com/opportunity. But I'm really glad at what we're bringing to the table.
And I will say, all of this is on our homepage, so don't worry about all the forward slashes and the fancy
just go to
stuff.
UnlockMLS.com, you'll be great.
You'll be fine. All right, Claire, you're up.
So I would have to say the classes, the 2 labs I teach each month, Market Data Lab and Unlock Stats Lab. I come from a family of teachers and professors, and the famous line is, those who cannot do, teach. So I could never be...
Well, lucky for us, you do both.
Well, no, I could never be a realtor agent, really admire everything that our members do. But I think those classes are just a great way to receive really one-on-one kind of tutoring, if you will, or just the ability for you to ask questions and let me know what's at the top of your mind. I mean, it really sparks a lot of creativity for me just to understand what it is that our members want to know and what's on their minds, what's at the forefront of their minds. So I would highly recommend those. And of course, as mentioned before, you can find that on unlockmls.com/calendar.
There you go. There you have it. And we do, just with that said, we always want your feedback. We are always open to and receptive to what's going on, what's happening on the ground. So please don't hesitate to email us in, come to a class. We're all accessible on our homepage. So, all right, everyone. Thanks so much for joining us today. We really appreciate you taking the time to tune in. Emily, Danielle, Taylor, Claire, thank you also for joining us and going live and sharing your insights. As always, please email communications@unlockmls.com if you have any feedback there, should you have any questions or comments as well. Thanks all and take care. Thanks. We'll see you next time.